Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my Hero Academia Chapter 295 read-through. Now, this chapter actually seemingly takes place a couple minutes after the last chapter, or maybe the last chapter happened a couple minutes after we last saw Midoriya. I don't know, because the chapter starts up with a mysterious voice. I'll get onto who I think it's from later, telling Midoriya to wake up. And he opens his eyes and then bolts upwards with the best he can. He must have some incredible core strength because both his legs are mangled and he's not using either of his arms to do this. You think, huh? I passed out because of Dubby's heat wave. Where's Todoroki-kun? See, that's what I mean by it must be a couple minutes after we last saw Midoriya, because it was after Darby's heat wave that Mr. Compress broke free and did all the stuff from the last chapter. Anyway, Midoriya looks over to his right and he says, there he is. Thank God he's alive. But before he can continue thinking, he's hit by something. A feeling. And he says, that again. That feeling that was like a sharp pain in my head. Is this danger detection from All Might's files? The fourth user's quirk? A quirk I had yet to unlock during my training. It's just like when Black Whip first appeared, just bursting out all at once. This heavy load, my head, it hurts. My senses are... Now, I'm pretty sure that the person who told Midoriya to wake up at the start is the first user, and it shows to when Midoriya was first made aware that Shigaraki had woken up. At least I'm pretty sure that's the panel, and he said it was the first user that told him. And there's a second panel. It looks like when Shigaraki first notices where him and Bakugo are nearby, and it shows that panel where he's decaying them from a distance, but he's not actually decaying them. It looks like that panel. So it seems as though this quirk has now triggered 3 times throughout this entire arc. Yet this is the first time we're hearing it. And I guess this sort of throws out the whole theory that the fourth user was the original holder of the decay quirk, and then All For One stole it and gave it to Shigaraki. So, sort of a good thing I haven't done my Shigaraki video yet. Anyway, it cuts from Midoriya to up on Gigantomachia's back, where Lemillion is launching himself up towards where Mr. Compress was. And Mr. Compress is like, and that curtain rises on the greatest escape of a lifetime. As he watches Mirio approach, and it almost looks as though one of his legs is missing. That, or it's just he's standing very weirdly and that leg's sort of hidden by his body. But then again, one of his arms is basically hidden as well, so he could just be in very weird motion. We see that he gets tackled by Mirio, and he's not doing too good. He's got blood on his face, he's got sweat dripping well, running down his face, and he looks like he's barely conscious. And you think, the curtain rises on the greatest escape. At least give me some time to rub my ass in your face. When I arrived, I spotted the massive Nomu in the distance, and since they move on Shigaraki's command, they'll move as long as Shigaraki's awake. Though he's out of the battle right now and hasn't fully regenerated consciousness yet, if you can help regain his consciousness, he can utilize the Nomu and turn the tables on this show. I'll help by buying time for Shigaraki and you, Spinner. I don't have any more tricks up my sleeve, so it all hinges on this plan and has a whole lot of luck. I'm just a mere distraction to earn you some time. I've hidden Darby in your staff. Yeah, Mr. Compressor's voice is not coming to me today. It keeps going country. Huh. That's unfortunate. It's up to you, Spinner. You're the one most loyal to Shigaraki after all. You two will play the role of my assistants. When I attach everyone to my body, it's strange. I feel so sick that I could vomit, but I also kind of feel at peace. Your suit has been decayed, and then I saw it, burnt to a crisp. It felt like a lump of lead has dragged down my heart, and from the depths poured out by your boundless rage. I just want you to remember. As this is happening, we see Mr. Compress try and put up a fight against Mirio, though he's basically just a sack of weight right now, as he's not really hindering Mirio's approach towards Spinner and Shigaraki. But we see that Spinner, he notices that one of Shigaraki's hands is actually still a hole, though it has been burnt, and he picks it up just before Mirio and Mr. Compressor's and Best Genius's fibers can reach them, and he puts it on Shigaraki's face. And suddenly, a wave of shock of sound blasts out around the area. It's also interesting to note that when the hand is placed on Shigaraki's face, there are these lines that start cracking down Shigaraki's neck, which we'll get to later. This shock wave, or more sound wave, is heard by the Nomu as they all perk up and then start running towards Shigaraki's location. And we see that Mirio, Best Genius, Ida, and Bakugo, they were all blown back by this wave. It couldn't really blow back Endeavor, possibly because he weighs too much, because he's got, what, a good 50 pounds on top of any of them. The closest would be Mirio. And Shoto, because he was able to get in proper stance, was able to resist some of the pushback. And we hear a voice coming from Shigaraki's body. But once again, it's not Shigaraki's. We're back to a all-for-one controlled Shigaraki. He says, "You've truly acquired such great associates. This is the power of the heart. The more his heart embraces the innate feelings within him, the stronger my hold on him will become." And we see that the lines that had been cracking down Shigaraki's neck are cracking down his entire body. And we also get another image of Shigaraki with All for One's face. He says, "Now, don't cease that hatred. Tamura. The Nomu. When used efficiently, it's possible to send detailed signals to the Nomu with radio waves. Of course, that would be difficult for a hatchling like Tamura. As All for One is saying this, several of the high-end Nomu have already made their way to the battlefield and are being intercepted by the heroes that are there. And Spinner says, Shigaraki, wait, what about Compress? There's still Toga too. It's alright now, Ikuchi-kun. Tamura was defeated by One for All and Endeavor. And now that score will be settled, because everything is for my sake.
Hey guys, Dylan here. So, my recording software crapped out before I realized we got to the end of that video, and I was going through editing it today, and, well, I realized I didn't have the last few pages of the story. So I'm just going to quick fire run through what happens throughout this entire thing. So I don't actually know what I explained at the end. I think I explained the cracks in Shigaraki's body was the last thing I explained plot wise. So as All for One is doing his speech, we see that all of the high-end Nomu are leaving the battlefield with the heroes, and they very quickly make their way to where the main battle is happening, several of them being intercepted by Nejire and Ida. And we see that Mirio has managed to take Mr. Compress down. He's lying unconscious on the ground, and Shigaraki, or Shigaraki as he is now, is gloatingly looking down at the battlefield as several of the high-end Nomus crawl up Gigantomachia's back and then scoop up him, Spinner, and, well, Darby as well, because he's in a marble, and carry them away from Gigantomachia. So it looks like not only is All for One leaving behind Mr. Compress, because, well, he's basically dead now, as much as it pains me to say. He's also willingly leaving behind Gigantomachia, his strongest asset. And he looks like he'll be leaving behind Toga as well. And we don't actually know what's going on with Skeptic because, well, I said in the last one that I think Mr. Compress put him in a marble, but he only said that he put Darby in Spinner's cloak. Anyway, Best Genus tries to send the cables trailing over Gigantomachia's back and after the high-end Nomus that have scooped up the League members. And Midoriya, he manages to shoot forward with his Black Whip tongue as the Nomu are running past and latch onto the one carrying Shigaraki. And All for One dismisses him, saying, "Let's meet again once his body is perfected," and then blasts him away with that Air Force quirk again. And as Midoriya is falling away from them, he thinks back to in the Vestige world, and he said, "Shigaraki, you've killed an unbelievable amount of people. You've hurt everyone. By no means could I ever forgive you for that. But back then, when you were being swallowed up by All for One, at that moment, it looked like you were asking for help." And as Midoriya is falling, we see images of the high-end Nomus managing to get away, all of the heroes that were fighting them trying to get to the main battlefield, not knowing that there's no longer a battlefield anymore. And the chapter ends with an overhead shot of the destruction of Jakku. And well, that's all we missed out in the chapter. I did not make mention to a couple of the small speech bubbles here because I really want to get this part of the video done and into the editing software. So hopefully this isn't a recurring thing. If it is, I may have to upgrade my system, but until the next chapter, catch you in the next one.